During the late 30s, Larry Storch and Jimmy Cross began their showbiz careers, but Larry played New York's white theaters, while Jimmy played the black ones. Their paths crossed on 125th Street in Harlem. Stump and Stumpy used to play the Apollo Theater there. Sometimes Jimmy would get together after the show with Larry Storch and trade jokes.
If you were wise, if you were smart, and you could glam on to what Jimmy Cross was laying down, you picked it up. I did.
Was part of that a lot of white audiences weren't seeing the black acts because of the fact
No, they never went uptown. They went uptown, but not to the Apollo. They went up to the Baby Grand and the Cotton Club, Savoy, you know, places like that.
So the white showbiz acts could go to the Apollo, check out the best of it.
Check them out, sure.
And then bring it back and kind of comfortably know that,
comfortably ooze it into your act.
Right, right.
If you could.
Yeah.
If you could.
Among the regulars at the Apollo was Jerry Lewis.
The black community, they loved the clown. They knew of what I took from their culture, which was their comic sense of timing, their ability for self-deprecating humor, which is everything I used, their rhythm in comic timing. I mean, I learned from some pretty good people.
Lewis told me he watched those black comic acts the way a biologist examines slides. Blacks and whites had no trouble hanging out together offstage.
It was fun.
As I looked through the cast pictures of the world tour, I couldn't help but notice the similarity between Corporal James Cross's face and mine. I was struck by his look of cockiness, a look that said he had such great expectations for himself.
If you're in a bed, you're robbing, and you like it nice and jumping. How you do? I'm stumped, and we've got swing there.
But tragedy was closing in. When Jimmy got out of the Army, he found his partner, Eddie, had become heroin addicted.
Why, rhythm is really what you need. Players and kids will set it. If you buy from me, video the talent. We will swing, but not for credit.
Telling what can happen. We can start your fingers snapping. Even start your tootsies tapping. We got swing for
Harold Cromer replaced Eddie in 1948.
And Jimmy was doing all kind of crazy movements while we were doing it, and I'm still singing it. And then when I opened my mouth, he put his hair in my mouth and said, the Beagle, ah. It was a great number, and Jimmy put everything into that one number.
Stump and Stumpy were stars of that period. They were stars in that circuit.
Maurice Hines was just beginning his career when he worked with Stump and Stumpy.
They would dance, and then they would sing, and then they would do little sketches, and they would do characters. So like Saturday Night Live. I mean, they were really ahead of their time. And they never got the credit for that, you know?
You know, your daddy was the royalty in show business. It's true, he didn't look like Muhammad Ali, but he was royalty nevertheless. And he was funny, and he was shameless. He would pull a hat over his ears, and he would put 2 cigarettes up his nose, and he would do a seal. Well, the audience, you know, you were helpless. And a lot of white entertainers don't think. Jerry Lewis is one guy who used to come in and watch Jimmy Cross.
Jerry Lewis would have seen Stump and Stumpy in Atlantic City's black nightclubs. They played there the summer after the war. Martin and Lewis broke in their act on the other side of town.
Proud woman, you can never hear a sound from a
Their show went on at 4 a.m. We were finished with our 2:30 show around 3:45, and we'd dash over. They were wonderful comic dancers, and they had wonderful sense of humor in their bodies, and that's all I remember. But that's all you need to remember.
And I always thought this was the funniest guy on earth. He was funny. Just naturally funny. It was so funny that Jerry Lewis thought he was funny enough to make $1 million off him.
Hello there. How about a picture of you and your girl? Hold it. Thank you.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say, I know that I did that because he did that or she did that. I think that it's just too infinite. You see, when a performer is influenced by greatness, you don't know that you are. Because comics are thieves. They steal from only greatness. But they place it in a place back here that they don't even know they've taken an idea or a speck of a notion and develop it.
During my last visit with my father, I asked him about that Jerry Lewis story. He gave me a sly smile. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, he said. An echo of what he'd told an interviewer in 1978.
What did people do when those stuffs were stolen?
Oh, nothing. None.
It was common.
None. And you enjoyed it. You know, in the whole beginning of me, James Cross, I loved Charles Chaplin, Joe Penner. I had a very, very good liking for Milton Berle. And then I loved me, because I conglomerated all of them and dropped them into a chocolate drop and made them me.